When I went to the major stuff, I was getting the stuff no one else wanted.
Yeah, you've done many albums, you've produced many albums. Are there certain albums or artists that you've done that you say, well, there's a special things that I've learned from them? I'm doing that name because I wrote down all the obviously the big names.
Yeah.
Sonic Youth, Dresden Dolls, John Zorn, Herbie Hancock.
Yeah, because do you realize how many names would be on there? Like the amount of projects I've worked on is insane. It's like 2,000 projects or something like that. I mean, it's the amount of records. I mean, it's just like really, there was a time when I was working, I mean, it's only
multiple albums at the same time.
Yeah, it's only really in the last 2 years, I've had 2 or 3 years where I've had more of a civilized schedule, because back then it was just, bam, I mean, I don't even know how I did it. I don't even know honestly, how I even enjoyed life. I guess I just was a studio lizard or something. I mean, that's just where I lived or something. And then also at that time, there was so much energy. I would work all day in the studio and then stay out all night, crazy stuff. But yeah, there's just a gazillion records. I've really thought about the whole thing of memory with music, because there's so many people. As far as really being able to like credit people that I've learned from, it's really hard. It's hard because a lot of projects I've simply forgotten about. And it's a little painful because, and actually I don't really like the fact that the things I really remember are the things that were successful, which is kind of a drag, you know, because if a record's successful, I'll even remember jokes and stuff, like personal stuff. And it's just like, how's that possible? I mean, doesn't every record involve like stuff that's worth remembering? But the truth is like I've kind of forgotten. So honestly, for what's painful for me is to go through all that stuff, and I would just talk about, I could mention the growing experience from records that are sort of somehow worthy of my memory, which is, you know what it is memory needs to be exercised, I guess. So if there's records or projects that I keep hearing about and I keep seeing reviewed and people keep talking about or asking me about, I exercise the memory and I go back there. And if there's never any talk about them, it just goes away, is really the reality of it. So really the whole thing is very cumulative. Honestly, I really feel I've learned from a lot of people.
Does it feel...
And honestly, in every project, there's a whole field of things. I mean, there's, okay, one Afrika Bambaataa, but for one Afrika Bambaataa, there's 6 records in that field, you know. For the Dresden Dolls, there's other bands in that field, like this band Barbez, that actually sort of facilitated me even doing the Dresden Dolls, because you know, I met the Dresden Dolls, introduced them to Barbez, and the recording I did of Barbez, they heard it and they were like, oh, maybe there's some communication here.
But did you have some wishes maybe then to actually grow into, well, the major league of Bob Rock and stuff like that, to produce the really big names? Or is it for you, this is just what you've done, this is what you like, doing more the artists like Sonic Youth, they were at the beginning of their career, same with the Dresden Dolls, that's what you like most? Or did you think
I'll say now, with experience, that is absolutely what I like most.
But did you have the wish maybe to grow, become bigger at it?
This is what I realized. I feel like I never had that much of a wish to work with that much bigger artists.
Okay.
I think I kind of tried. Like, I got a manager at one point, and we started getting, you know, I started doing a few major label projects, and I think I tried it out a little bit. A couple of things happened. Like, right away I realized, just in terms of business, when I went to the higher league, when I was actually producing major label records, I wasn't getting the best, is what I kind of realized, right? So when I stayed indie, I got close to the best, or the best occasionally, right, of indie stuff. I get good stuff. When I went to the major stuff, I was getting the stuff no one else wanted.
Yeah, but there's only a few years. But if you've gone further and maybe 10 or 20 years, and maybe then you can
Well, there's 3 things, because I've really thought about this a lot. There's 3 things that made me and they sort of, I realized them maybe one at a time. But there's 3 things I kind of realized. Well, for one thing, the social thing, as I've mentioned that a couple of times already, the social thing has been a real impulse to me. Like street, grassroots, as I say, grassroots meaning stuff that's right at the beginning, grassroots. When that works, there's nothing more satisfying. Like it really, that's when you really think you've waved the magic wand. There's nothing more satisfying than feeling that somehow you've participated in something that just inspired people and broke through to people outside of, you know, all the usual formulas and the machinery of the man. And I'm not even against the man in a weird way. But so in other words, I'm not saying for any kind of political kind of ideal that, oh, never work with the man. I'm just saying that when you do it without the man, there's nothing like it. That's like, it actually just is the best. And it just feels, and that's the stuff I'm very proud of. Because there are a few things I've worked on that were sort of major label and kind of were semi-successful, like the band Helmet or something like that. That's not the stuff I'm most proud of. Even that song Rocket, the reason I'm actually kind of proud of that is because we didn't know it was even going to come out. It was sort of on the demo level, meaning
So maybe
we didn't know.